All right, welcome back, everyone, to another That's So Mets live stream, and we are really excited this week. We've been having a great time with them already before we went on the air. Calvin Ziegler, the Mets' second-round pick from the latest MLB draft. Calvin, what's going on, man? It's great to have you on with us.
No, thanks for having me. Currently, right now, just kind of chilling, trying to figure out all my training and whatnot because of COVID. Because as of now, Canada's a little crazy, as I already explained to you guys, but we're in a very tough predicament, you could say. For me, at least, being a professional, training, getting into a facility won't be as hard because they didn't put restrictions really against that. But I don't know about how many players you can have in certain facilities, so we still got to figure that one out.
What's your day-to-day been like? It's a weird time where, yeah, there's restrictions. I mean, all over the place. It's different everywhere. But for you, obviously, professional athlete, obviously this is a totally different change for you now being a pro, being drafted. And I'm sure your preparation remains the same. But what's it like when you are home in Canada, your day-to-day?
So yeah, my full schedule has been given to me by the Mets, obviously, but as of right now, there's kind
You
of
have a
like,
boss now.
yeah, fair enough. I'm
Being an
actually
adult's fun,
an
dude.
employee now, so,
Yeah.
but as of right now, there's 4 days where it's like pretty long days, like it's like throwing, lifting, whatnot, and then there's the other 3 which are kind of lighter, like a conditioning, maybe a little bit of recovery, whatnot, but it's not crazy busy. Like I still have time to do stuff every day, which is pretty nice. So I'm enjoying that. But really right now it's just trying not to get COVID, I guess, because that's the only thing that can affect me. So yeah, it's just kind of just chill day to day, and just basically hop on things like this.
Tell us about your upbringing. You're from a small town in Canada, and when did you fall in love with baseball?
I mean, baseball has really been a part of my life since I could play. Started when I was 3 or 4, so quite a while ago. But yeah, as of right now, the town I live in, we don't even have 500 people yet. So I had to travel for baseball. Even just in Canada, like my high school team I played with, which technically isn't my high school team because in Canada we don't have high school baseball. Not a lot of places do, at least. So it's more of my travel ball team, which is out of London, which is about an hour 20 from me. Our training facility is. So always had to travel for baseball. So I mean, going down to the States, obviously it's a little bit of a longer drive compared to London, but always had to drive, always had to go places just to play. So it's just a part of my life.
Is that from, whether it's your dad or just family in general? Because obviously you and I were talking off air just how it's hockey country. It's no secret, obviously. But is that just like, or is it something that you kind of found on your own and obviously excelled at an insane rate?
So first, my dad actually tried to put me in hockey, put me on skates, put me on the ice, and I didn't like it. No, cried a little bit, was like, no, I'm not doing it. Gave me a glove, a ball, and I was like, oh, hey, this is awesome. So it was kind of just, I picked it, I guess. It wasn't like forced into it, never was. Always encouraged me to try my best, but never forced me into doing anything, which is probably one of the biggest reasons to why I love the game so much.
So how about some off the field hobbies? When you're not doing baseball, playing baseball, pitching, working out, what do you like to do?
I mean, I play video games, not a crazy amount right now. Still trying to figure a couple things out, obviously, because this whole COVID thing doesn't want to leave us alone. But yeah, I like to play video games. Obviously, I'm still a teenager, but I really enjoy cooking. Just one of those things I picked up during COVID because it was like, I mean, I got nothing else to do, so let's figure something out. And then just hanging out with buddies. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. So, and then when you get to do all 3, it's just kind of the best of the best. So
you're further along than me with cooking.
Yeah, I mean, no, it was just something I picked up during COVID. So when we had that big lockdown up here, it was the thing I went to.
Yeah, for those unaware, it might not seem like it, but Calvin is 19 years old still. So you are definitely, obviously, one of the youngest guys, one of the youngest notable guys in the system. I mean, looking back at the draft, which is such a cool moment, and I think you had one of the most signature moments, just that moment. Our viewers were asking us, they're like, that moment with your dad and the moment of being drafted. Were you surprised? Did you get feelers from the Mets? Was it a situation where everything's just so overwhelming? What was that exact moment like?
So actually, the day before The day I was picked, we had a pre-draft agreement. Well, sorry, the day of, but it was like 2 a.m. or whatever. And then they called and they're like, hey, we got this offer, whatever, like say yes. And we got you. And so me and my dad already knew. No one else did.
Okay.
And so I told my dad, I'm like, Dad, I want to keep this a secret between me and you. And we did that. And then from there, it's just about waiting. That was the most stressful part because it's like, the Mets said they were going to do it, but you never know. It's
true.
It's the draft. Something could change. Someone couldn't get picked. And then they're like, I want this guy now. But yeah, when I got picked, my dad probably was the most excited out of all of us. I'm not really a guy to show that much crazy emotion. So in the video, I'm kind of just chilling back behind everybody there. But yeah, my dad was stoked. It was awesome. Obviously everybody dreams of it. Prior to that, I was like, I know exactly how it's going to feel, whatever. I already know. Get picked. And I was like, yeah, no, I don't know how to explain it. Like it's true. You just don't know how to explain it. It's just one of those things where it happens. And there's nothing as good as it.
In the pre-draft process, did you have a lot of conversations with the Mets? Like, did you meet with their scouts, any like scouting director or anyone actually meet with you? Or was it just,
so there was 2 instances where after a game, I kind of just had a quick chat with them, but nothing really crazy until about 2 to 3 weeks before the draft. And I mean, that's what I told my parents. I said, it's not going to be a team that's been contacting us for the last year. It's going to be a team that comes out of nowhere and they're going to take me. And I said that. I'm like, what's going to happen? I have a feeling. And it ended up happening. Like 2 weeks prior to the draft, there was something really every day. And then went from there and it happened. So
typically I feel like a lot of people would look at it and think like, okay, Canadian born prospect. Obviously it's a big adjustment going to Florida, but for you've already done that move before, which is like what everyone said when you were drafted. They're like, yes, he's from Canada, but he made the move. He trained down in Florida. Number one, like that's a crazy move for someone your age at the time. Or really, that for me, I know I personally would be overwhelmed. I remember when I left for college, when I stayed in New York, I was like, this is nuts. What was that like being in Florida, like kind of being on your own and totally, at the end of the day, it's baseball, right? Baseball is baseball,
yep.
But you're still in a totally different environment.
I mean, it had to be done. There was no other way.
Yeah, it's true.
For me, it was just a factor of the year before, went undrafted, whatever, was kind of expecting to be in that 6 to 8 round range. Draft gets shortened to 5 rounds. We go, okay, well, what's my next plan?
Yeah.
There was a shot for me to slip into that late 5th round. Obviously didn't happen. But so we kind of just went from there and then brings us to here.
You were the Mets' second pick last year, like we mentioned at the top, behind Kumar Rocker, who ended up not signing with the Mets, thus making you the highest draft pick from the 2021 class that's with the Mets. Does that add any additional pressure on you that you're now the top pick of the 2021 Mets class?
There's a little bit, but obviously there's going to be pressure. Being drafted, no matter where you are, you're expected to come to your greatest potential and play in the major leagues. But for me, nothing really like that gets to me. Because when I'm on the field, that's not what I'm thinking about. It's just about getting that next guy out. Because I'm not thinking about, oh, hey, I was this pick, this guy was that pick, whatever. It's just, I know what I am. I'm going to go out there and show it and just play my game.
Have you been to New York City yet?
Yes.
Okay. First thoughts.
Actually, I was there with a pitching coach I met. And when I was there, I kind of just toured the city and whatever. And I was like, wow, this place is awesome, whatever. Ended up becoming great buddies with him and that whole facility. And then just so happened I get picked by the Mets. And we're like, what are the odds? What Perfect. Are the odds of that? So that was just a great outcome for us. Sadly, he was a Yankees fan, but his wife's a Mets fan. So we're good in that aspect. But it was awesome. Yeah, it was great.
How much did you know about the Mets organization when you were getting drafted? Like, how much do you follow the teams in the major leagues?
So the way me and my agent went about it was very specific to what kind of player I am. So we did know quite a bit about the organization and aspect for me, not for an outfielder or whatever, because that's not me, obviously. But so we knew it was a great fit. That was probably the reason why I agreed to the pre-draft deal, because they were a good fit for me and increase my chances of being a Major League Baseball player. And in the end, that's the whole goal. So we did know quite a bit, and fortunately we did. So now I feel like I'm in a really good spot.
Is there any part of you that, like, even for like casual baseball fans, it's been the offseason of the Mets? Like, it's all the Mets are talking about, which is probably great that, like, it's not all of the eyes aren't on the farm system for once. It's Max Scherzer, Marte, like every big move around the Mets. Obviously, they hire a legendary guy like Buck Showalter, but when you envision yourself, because you are a pitcher, and you think of, walking maybe one day into a clubhouse with DeGrom and Scherzer, just like, what is that thought even like?
I mean, for me, it's that whole Scherzer when he signed. That was the biggest deal to me. That's my favorite baseball player.
Oh, okay, that's really cool.
That's my guy. So when I found that out, I was like, "There's absolutely no way." Like, I didn't believe it. Whatever.
Neither did we.
And then go look on it. It's posted on every official page, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like, this is my favorite player. Like, there's nobody that comes close to it. And then I was like, it was just so shocking. It was like, I couldn't believe it. But I mean, hopefully I get the chance. Obviously he's on a 3-year deal, so I got to make it pretty quick for me. But I mean, we can all hope.
You're not as crazy as he is on the mound, are you?
No. I'm usually fairly just kind of out there. I'm just going to throw the ball at him and get the ball back. That's all I'm caring about.
So so obviously, like you said, not so crazy on the mound, but if you had to give a scouting report of what Calvin Ziegler brings to the table on the mound, what would that look like?
A heavy fastball. Obviously, that's what you look at anything. I mean, that's the first thing that's on there. I throw extremely hard. And now that I'm in an industry where everybody throws hard, I got to obviously figure more things out. I have a pretty good breaking ball. I throw a knuckle curve that spins from about 1 to 7, a little bit more north to south, but not exactly, more 1 to 7. Then I throw a changeup that was in the works this year. It's probably my most underrated pitch, just because nobody really saw it. It was only something I picked up like a couple months before the draft, and I felt like it was a really good pitch at the time. And for me, that'll be my big determiner of this year coming in, because that's what everyone wants to see.
Quickly, knuckle curve. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, quickly. So the changeup, do you feel almost, because when I covered the draft, I've covered it for a long time, and mostly every prep pitcher that I ever spoke to or covered, it's like, they need work on their changeup. Mm-hmm. Did you feel that you didn't really need it? Like, you throw really hard, you have the knuckle curve, you basically were like, I have a changeup, I'm going to work on it. But when you're in game, you're going to you just want to get the batters out. That's your job when you're on the mound. Is that pretty much it for you?
Yeah. So for the most part, it was like, I can just get away with throwing a fastball in the zone because not a lot of guys will catch up to it. And then just flip a curve in there every so often. But then when I went down to Florida, it kind of got noted that it's like, it's coming in mid-90s, whatever, but guys are facing machines that are throwing 105 at them. So that 95 now becomes 85 when it's right down the middle. But after I really developed that curve, or that changeup, that really separated my fastball to what I noticed. Just because there was one game where my curve was kind of off, couldn't really locate it as well as I could. So it was just a fastball changeup game. And so it was just get it up and then throw changeup down and then just kind of change eye levels, whatnot. And that game was honestly probably one of the most fun games I threw, because I was like, this is a pitch I've learned maybe 3 weeks ago. But for some reason I picked it up super fast. And it wasn't complex for me. It was more about just get the grip and throw it. So I wasn't trying to think about, get on the side, get on top, whatever. It's just throw it.
Is there anything you went into this off season and you're like, okay, I want to like really emphasize this, whether you want to, get for some guys, especially your age, it's like get bigger and stronger, or it's, I want to improve my location on this pitch, or it could even be something as simple as, for a guy like you, getting more nimble and being a better defensive player. Like, you never know, like you get a million different answers. So you go into an off season thinking like that, or are you just at the point where you're like, I'm just going to do what I've always done?
So the big thing for me this offseason, just with me being so young, the biggest factor is they said just stay healthy. That's all they care about. Just because the fact I'm 19 years old, whatever, I want to play this game as long as I possibly can. So
you already throw hard, which is
So I didn't get a velocity program. I don't need it. We already know that I throw hard. And so now it's more just about those fine-tuned things. Just everybody stay athletic, whatnot, work on your fielding. Cause I mean, I'm a pitcher, I'm not going to play shortstop, but if I can go take a couple reps at shortstop, just kind of those small things, just keep me athletic and healthy.
That's what Jacob deGrom loves to do. He takes ground balls at shortstop and drives us crazy as Mets fans.
The outfield.
Yeah.
To be fair, he did play shortstop.
It's very funny.
Do you like to hit?
I mean, when I did hit, I wasn't terrible. I rotated really fast. It's the reason why I throw hard. So when I squared it up, it was, I'd hit it hard. But I mean, to be fair, I was facing guys throwing 80, not 95 with a curveball that moves a foot and a half and a changeup that's 15 miles an hour different with a sharp break. So I did. If I get the chance to do it again, maybe not, but we'll see.
Yeah, the DH is probably coming, so I think you'll be in the clear there. Shortly after getting drafted, I saw a video that I think you posted or someone posted of you, throwing a bullpen session and, popped up all your numbers with your spin rate, your spin efficiency, your velocity, everything there. How involved are you in like the analytics and tech side of the game? Because I feel like that's something that, is becoming more prevalent in the Mets organization, certainly. And younger players are kind of getting more into what their numbers are outside of just velo.
Yeah, I mean, the tech part of the game is a great part. It's a really good addition. Obviously, it's going to have its flaws, and people are going to look at some of the wrong numbers in the wrong way. So it's just about kind of knowing what you're going to work on and what you need. So for me, if I'm throwing a bullpen, the velocity number, I'm not too concerned about. Because as we've already said, like velocity isn't the problem. It's more about that spin efficiency, location, extension, kind of all those things that can make that hard fastball even harder. And so when we were working on all that stuff for me, because I spin the ball very efficiently on my fastball, so I'm going to get that ride and that movement that I want. And then from the curveball side, that was about getting the curve spin efficiency up to make it obviously a better pitch. But with that, you can obviously always look at the wrong number, the velocity, because that's a lot of people care about that. I honestly think they care about it too much sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great addition. But at the end of the day, you still got to know how to play.
For sure. Yeah.
Because, you're not going to be out on the mound with a Rapsodo right beside you. You're still going to have to locate that pitch and throw something off of it and whatnot. So great addition, but it can be looked at the wrong way.
Yeah, the key with the whole spin rate and spin efficiency, it's, you're throwing 95, 96 miles an hour. With the right stuff behind it, it's going to feel like 99 miles an hour, whereas a guy that could throw a straight 99-mile-an-hour fastball gets rocked. So, yeah, definitely very useful tool.
So I remember you had signed to UConn, correct? If you had opted to play. What Yeah, there you go. That makes Joe happy. He's a Connecticut guy. So. Yeah. What led to that choice? And, obviously you probably had a lot of options. So what led you to that path? And it's kind of funny that you ended up drafted by a team not that far from UConn in the grand scheme of things with the Mets. The Northeast is just calling you, Calvin. At some point, you just have to get here.
So actually after that, I had decommitted and committed to Auburn as well. But when I was younger, I went to a show ball event or something like that in New York, actually. And from there, we got a contact from them. They invited me to come out to one of their camps, whatever. Went out and I threw really well, like really, really well. But after that, they contacted me, had me come down for a visit, and then decided to commit from there. And so that was honestly quite a while ago. I think I was 15 or 16 years old. But it was awesome. It was a great time. Obviously, because at the time we didn't really know how all this kind of stuff worked. So we were like Division I, like that is just insane. Like there's no way it's real, whatever. And yeah, it was really fun to what I had with them. But it's just part of the past now.
Yeah. UConn's put a bunch of players into pro ball, a lot of
of
good
pitchers.
major leaguers. So yeah, UConn's a little bit of an underrated program. Auburn's probably just a little bit better, but we got you here. We don't have to worry about that college stuff.
Fair
So
enough.
obviously, with all the COVID restrictions going on in Canada right now, is that going to disrupt you being able to get down to Port St. Lucie for spring training?
It shouldn't, because travel restrictions, whenever you see them, it only affects really people who don't have like visas and whatever. Because I'm technically an employee of minor league baseball, I have a visa, so getting down there shouldn't be an issue. But who knows? Because something could change. You know what? I get COVID before I go, can't leave the country for 2 weeks, have to shut down, can't throw, whatever. So it's a hassle, but I mean, we're in the right protocols, I guess. And like I said earlier, getting COVID is probably one of the biggest challenges, or not getting COVID is probably one of the biggest challenges of this offseason.
Do you tentatively have a plan for when you would head down if all things go right?
So we were originally supposed to have a January camp, but it got snipped like 3 days ago because they're like, we just can't do it. You know, you can't have all these guys just come here and then leave. But now for me, I'm going to be in New York training with that pitching coach that I said I met just before February, and I'll be there until report. So hopefully with that, travel restrictions won't be as hard. And then all my COVID protocols, once I get there, shouldn't be hard, but I'm pretty sure report date's mid-February.
Last one from me, and Joe, I'll let you jump in, obviously, before we close, is, when you get down, everything goes smoothly. You get down there for spring training, of course, and you're in Florida. What's the one thing that you're just most excited to see or be around? Is it just watching Scherzer throw, right? Or watching DeGrom throw? Is it watching Pete Alonso hit baseballs into the ocean wherever he is? What's that one thing that you're just like, wow, this is, I'm a big leaguer. I'm going to be a big leaguer one day, and I'm around big leaguers right now.
I think for me, it'd just be kind of being around those big leaguers. Obviously watching Max Scherzer throw will be next to none. It'll probably be the best thing that'll happen. But I feel like for me, just being around them and just kind of seeing the difference between what they do off the field, because obviously you see how they perform on the field. Some are just outstanding, whatever. But all that work and all that effort off the field is really what makes them that player. And I just really, really interested in to see what the difference is between, that all-star major leaguer, maybe that below average, and then, the minor leaguers. Because at the end of the day, those great baseball players are doing something right.
And my last one as well. What are your ultimate goals for the 2022 season? What are you looking to accomplish? Are you just looking at hitting full season ball, or what are you really looking to do this year?
For me, it's really just about getting out there and competing. Obviously still being young, being a major leaguer this year is pretty much out of range.
For sure.
But for me, it's just about just trying to stay healthy the whole season and really impress the organization to my best of my abilities. And then hopefully, come the last couple of weeks, they just kind of give me more information about what could come with the next year and then work towards those goals.
All right, everyone. That is Calvin Ziegler, former Mets second-round pick, and now going to be in the system, and we're going to be tracking your progress. We're rooting for you, dude. It's been awesome having you on, and we can't wait to get you here in New York. That's when the real fun will get started, man. Thank you so much, dude.
No, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.